My wife banned my entire family from meeting our newborn, but her family visited every day. She called it boundaries. Then her own sister showed me the messages, and I realized my wife wasn't anxious. She was playing a dominance game. Our daughter was 3 weeks old. My parents lived 20 minutes away and begged for 10 minutes. My sister flew in, paid for a hotel, and sat there for 4 days waiting. My grandma was 92, and my wife still said no. Meanwhile, her mom basically lived in our house. Her dad took non-stop photos. Her siblings rotated through after work like it was a shift schedule. When my dad commented online asking when he could meet the baby, my wife deleted it and blocked him. When my mom asked again, my wife cried and said I needed to respect her as a mother. I gave birth, she said. I make the rules. The excuses changed every time. Germs, while her sister came straight from a daycare job. Routine, while her mom rearranged feedings like she owned the baby. Overwhelming, right after her family packed our living room to celebrate. I tried to talk about fairness, and my mother-in-law stared at me like I was an abuser for even asking. Then my grandma called from the hospital. She'd fallen and needed surgery. She asked for one photo of the baby before she went under, just in case. My wife heard that and snapped. She grabbed my phone and shouted into it, "You're toxic. Stop guilt-tripping me." Then she hung up. My grandma called back later, apologizing and confused. That's when my wife's sister pulled me aside. She looked shaken and said, "You deserve to know the truth." She showed me texts where my wife bragged she'd planned this since pregnancy. She called it establishing dominance and said my mother would know her place. She laughed about my sister wasting money on the trip, and she typed that she hoped my grandma would die soon so she wouldn't have to deal with visits. I confronted my wife. She tried to snatch the phone and delete everything. When she couldn't, she screamed that I was choosing my family over her and the baby. I told her I was choosing to stop her from abusing my family with my child as the weapon. That day, I took our daughter to meet my parents. My mom held her like she was made of glass. 10 minutes later, my wife called the police and said I kidnapped the baby. The officers asked if I was the father. I said yes. They told her I had equal rights and left. Her mom then showed up at my parents' house screaming on the porch. My dad filmed it all. She pointed at me and yelled, "I'll make sure you never see that baby again." She threatened lawyers and supervised visits, like she was ordering off a menu. When I went home, her whole family was waiting in my living room. They called me dangerous and controlling. My wife sat there crying, holding the baby, refusing to speak privately. After midnight, she gave me an ultimatum, apologized to her family and promised my family would never see the baby without her approval, or she'd ruin me. The next morning, the smear campaign started. Vague posts about protecting babies and a flood of messages calling me unstable. Her mom moved in to support her, and suddenly the bedroom and nursery locks changed. I checked our accounts and most of our money had been moved into hers. Then I got served at work with emergency custody papers, accusing me of kidnapping. So I hired a family lawyer and brought receipts, the screenshots, the police report, and the porch video. 5 days later, we were in court. Her lawyer painted her as a terrified new mother. Then my lawyer handed the judge my wife's own words. The judge put on her glasses. Then she read my wife's texts out loud. First, she read, "Make them beg for access." Next, she read, "Break their spirits, then deny them." After that, she read, "Teach his sister a lesson." Then she read, "Old people fake health scares for attention." Finally, she read, "I hope the grandma dies soon." The room went dead silent around us. My wife cried hard enough to shake, but the judge didn't flinch. The emergency order was denied, and the judge said there was no evidence I was a danger. She set temporary custody on a strict schedule and warned my wife about parental alienation. 6 weeks later, the final order made it permanent. We alternated weeks, and during my week, my family could visit. No permission slips, no gatekeeping. My marriage didn't survive that war, but my daughter kept both sides of her family, and my wife learned the hard way that screenshots don't care about your tears.